this character. And it was just, it was really kind of fun to hear their voices, and
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it. It was
Yeah.
nice, and we got to see a little bit of the show, but it just kind of made me sad.
Yeah.
I'm just checking
Well,
to see.
I'm looking forward to Blood of My Blood a little more because I didn't know that we're going to find out how Claire and her her father and mother were going to meet,
Yeah.
and that sounds interesting to me. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But
I'm looking forward to like how they do this. Are they going to have one episode where it's just Claire's mom and dad,
hmm
that kind of thing? They're going to show World War II or World War I or whatever it is. And then the next episode, will be 200 years, you know, behind. It'll be interesting to see how they actually do this.
I bet you they'll flip flop back and forth like they did with Outlander.
Yeah, but
Oh
it'll
yeah,
be
that's what it
interesting.
looks like to
Yeah,
me personally. I think
yeah.
we are
Yeah.
live. I think it's working. Again, I'm using a new program. Um, Cynthia, honey, I believe you should have an email that allows you to join us. Let me double check, but I know that I
Yeah,
had.
she's on the email.
She was on the email, yes?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah. I saw
Cynthia,
her name.
hi. I see you in the chat over there. Did you want to come along? Cause you're we're we can get started, but we can just babble about stuff for a couple of minutes if you'd like to come along. Now there's always like a 2 minute delay, so she'll hear that in about 2 minutes. Um, so yeah, continue. I apologize. I'm checking
Oh, that's
to make
okay.
No,
sure
that's okay.
things are working.
Yeah.
Um, so what did you think of the gathering, Katie?
Oh, I thought it was fantastic. I debated whether I should do a full video that was just about the gathering. I was like, no, no, no. I'll tell you my favorite parts, and y'all need just to go do your own homework.
Yeah.
Because it's easy
Yeah.
to access. If you can watch me, you can watch
Yeah.
it. No problem. I mailed you. I'm really. Oh yes, 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 yes. I'm so sorry. You did say she's sick. She's sick. All right, all right. You know
Oh,
what then, Cynthia?
okay.
You tell me what episode you want to be on involved with both Blood of My Blood and season 2, and I'll make sure I get you on the list. Jan, I did you add you to 2, 3, and 4 for season
Okay.
2, but we won't be
Yeah.
starting that until after Blood of My Blood, so it's going to be
Yeah.
a minute. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All
Just
right,
so
I'm
just
entering.
so that you have me.
Okay, okay, cool. Yeah, awesome. Uh, welcome. We almost know what we're doing. I'm trying to use a new streaming program, so I apologize if I look like I have no idea what I'm doing for a minute there, because I don't. We are here to talk about Outlander Season 1, Episode 14, The Search. It is really, really high up on my favorite episodes of the entire series, honestly, but definitely of
Are you
Season 1.
kidding me?
Yes, I love this
Really?
episode. I truly
Oh,
do. Because so
it's
many
not my
different things
favorite.
happen. Uh, I think it's a little bit more lighthearted and fun, even though they're doing a serious thing throughout.
Yeah.
Before we get to the last 2 episodes, which are
Yeah.
not lighthearted and not
Mm-mm.
No.
fun. So,
No.
I enjoy it when a series that's very serious takes kind of a break to entertain us more than freak us out every 5 seconds about what's going to happen next. So I enjoyed this between the getting to know Jenny and Claire, having that relationship build more as they're traveling, learning
Right.
more about Jenny and what it was like for her to grow up with the brothers and or with Ian too, obviously, and then of course Marta. This is the first time we really spend time with Marta, and I adore
hmm
both Duncan LaCroix and the character Marta very, very much.
I do
And plus, we
too.
get another twisted idea from Dougal. So I enjoy this episode quite a bit because it's a roller coaster. It's not like this is the
Yeah.
episode where this one thing happens. No, this episode where this happens and then this happens and then this happens. By the way, at the end, everything goes nuts. So yeah, I really like this episode just for the characters
Okay.
and yeah, I
Yeah.
really did.
I understand what you're saying. yeah, I never thought about it because we're really coming into two episodes in a row where things are just turned upside down and very cruel and just horrible um, episodes. So I never thought about that before, Katie. That's a
Neither.
really interesting way to look at the series.
Hmm.
Well, that's why I like having
Uh,
these chats because we all have different, different views, how we
sure,
see the characters, how we see the story coming along. Um, but that's just
absolutely.
my feeling on it.
Yeah. Well, I enjoyed the episode. It's not one of my favorites, but I enjoyed the lightheartedness of Claire and Murtaugh when they were searching. That was kind of fun. So anyway,
Yeah.
do you want to start?
There were some great lines in it, that's for sure.
Yeah. Do we want to
Most
start?
definitely. Oh, well, we're
Okay.
started. We're on. We're live
Oh,
right now.
okay.
That's why I wanted to start
So
before because I don't know what the heck's going to work and
yeah.
what isn't. So,
Okay. So we open up the episode, the search, and we
oh,
see that um, Jenny has had the baby, and she's walking around with the servants, and you're probably going, what the heck is she doing? I remember this. And so excuse me,
here.
I'm gonna take a drink here. So Claire's gonna go search for Jamie,
Yeah.
and you kind of knew that she was gonna do that because she would not stand for
Yeah.
you know
Well, you knew
this
something was going
happening.
to happen. She was going to do
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
something. Yeah.
excuse
But
me.
it is, when you watch this, it's ironic. You're thinking, oh, the two people going out are the two women. You would think there would be some men folk, but no, they're very
Yeah,
take charge chicks. They are not going to have somebody else go
Yeah.
handle their business.
no,
So I
and
appreciate that.
especially yeah, you see that Jenny is a little bit more like Claire than what we thought she was. I
Hmm.
Yeah.
think it was.
She.
I knew that she was a take charge person, but we didn't really know that. Oh, little cat butt.
Hey,
Scarlett wants to be part of the video.
Yeah,
that's perfectly
Come on,
fine.
girl.
She's welcome.
yeah. Welcome, Scarlett.
Bear's one's again right
So
over here, so he's just out of the picture. He's tired of being the main attraction.
that's too funny. But anyway, um, so they take off with their big old horses. When you see those women sitting on those horses are huge.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a great horse person, but they look so big,
And
compared to them.
and I can't imagine being on a horse 3 days after giving birth.
Yeah,
No,
that
that's
would
what
really that would hurt the coochie.
you know.
Quite a bit.
There's being tough, and there is having an iron vagina, and that is just yeah. And I
Well,
admit
maybe
I only,
still numb from the birth.
but that only lasts so long. I mean, honestly. I only had
I
one
wouldn't have.
naturally, and they couldn't find the anesthesiologist. So when I say naturally, I mean naturally. Sans drugs. The other four or
Yeah,
the other three were cesarean. So life. But I'm gonna tell you right now. The next day, I wasn't like, you know what I need to do. I need to go horseback riding. That just sounds like a fantastic plan.
yeah.
Not 3 days later either.
No, I had. This is kind of gross, but I have to tell this. Okay,
Sure, we're all
my
mostly ladies
friend
here.
had a baby. My friend had a baby, and she had an episiotomy. Where they open you up a little
Yeah.
bit bigger. And she said that the doctor was standing, at her coochie area, and somebody said to him, make sure that she had a episiotomy. Make sure that you stitch, correctly or something. And he just looked down there and he said, how do I find where the pieces all go back?
Oh
She was
God.
like, oh my
Oh,
God. I mean, the pieces
Oh,
just didn't look like they would go back the way they were supposed to. Can you imagine?
do you
oh
know it's
God.
really bad? They don't do episiotomies anymore. Well, I won't say anymore. When my daughter had her child, they don't do episiotomies. They let things rip. They say it's
Yes.
easier for healing. So,
Yes.
um, I had a
I've heard
episiotomy
that.
too. It's not fun. It's not a good time.
No.
Mm.
Anywho,
Anyway, so the ladies take off,
yeah, they do.
and I never thought about this, but Jenny knows how to track.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
so,
that's one of the cool things we
I
kind of learn about her growing
yeah,
up. We get her little
Mhm.
childhood stories and
right.
understand her knowledge it isn't just about keeping house. She can do rough and
Right.
tumble if she needs to.
Right.
Mhm.
I thought that was really amazing. And as they're riding along, they have some women talk, and it's really interesting how their relationship starts. They start bonding
Yeah.
Mhm.
through this. And that one time, where they stop, and she says, I have to stop, I'm full, or whatever she
I'm
says,
Have to
or
bursting.
burst.
whatever.
Yeah.
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 And she brings out her boob, and you're like, oh,
Well,
okay.
different things bursting than she thought.
Yeah. And you realize that she's got like a container, and she's putting her breast milk in the container. And I thought that was really interesting, because I never thought back then that they would do something like that, where they would catch their breast milk.
Oh, she just threw it away.
Oh,
Yeah,
she did.
Yeah, she threw
Oh,
it away.
yeah. I think she
I
caught
didn't
it. I
see
think
that.
probably to make sure she pumped out enough or a reasonable amount before
Mhm.
Yeah.
tossing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought that was interesting. And then, Claire was standing there, and she asked questions about it.
Oh,
She was like, I didn't realize that it came out, spurted out like that, And I just thought that was interesting, because, if you've never been around somebody that's ever breastfed, you don't know those
yeah,
things, you know.
Mhm.
yeah.
But
It's
I
a
thought that
very,
was really interesting.
very frank discussion.
Yeah.
I'm
Mhm.
trying to see. Let's see here. Where everybody's wishing Cynthia to feel better, and we all do too. Let's
Oh
see
yeah,
here,
definitely.
and let's see if
And
I
then
can see anything good.
and then Murtaugh scares the crap out of him.
Apparently, I'm still quiet. Okay, hold on. Go ahead. Yeah, Murta is meets up with them because
Yeah.
Oh,
Jenny
that
says
we
she's
I'm
gonna have to get home.
yeah, I'm ahead of myself. We need to talk about the ladies grab the messenger guy.
Yeah. That was pretty swift. Good move
Sorry, I
to
got
fall
ahead of
there.
us. So the ladies grab the messenger that's gonna take a message to somebody. They don't know who it's gonna be,
Yeah.
and I don't know about you guys, but I was really shocked what Jenny did. You know,
I wasn't.
No, I don't think I was shocked that Jenny was doing it. The burning of the feet and everything, having to trust them up. I think that we've learned that life is harder there by now, and that it's not like they're just gonna go now. You behave and tell us what we want to know. There's gonna have to be the only
yeah,
form that they know of getting or persuading someone is torture. It's not like there's a bunch of psychological books about how to play music too loud, drive him crazy, so he'll tell them. This is how they
yeah.
get stuff done. Pain.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. But it was an
But
interesting
I was just kind of,
conversation that she and Claire had to have because of that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. as evidence is, you know, Claire doesn't like it at first.
Yeah. So I'm thumbs
You
up
know,
to Kathy, who told me
uncomfortable.
my volume was wrong. Go ahead.
Oh, um, she wasn't really happy with it at at that point, but she understands that something has to happen to
Yeah.
get this guy to talk.
Yeah, and he
It's kind of
does. I
it,
mean,
it reminded me of Good Cop, Bad Cop. Claire
Yeah,
was the good cop. I beseech you, tell
yeah.
him
You
I
better
can't
tell
control
us.
her.
Yeah, you better tell us, or she's gonna burn you.
I promise she's gonna hurt you if yeah, it was
Yeah.
Yeah.
Claire did not see the big picture. I mean, nobody you can't
No.
let him
No.
go. It's
No.
just
No, because he would absolutely tell.
Yeah, he knows way too much.
So, um,
so
he,
they like knock off two birds with one stone that though because not only now do they have an idea of where Jamie is, but they've stopped the message for other people having to go look for him. Um,
yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which is handy under the situation, under in the
Yes.
circumstances.
yeah.
And then, was anybody surprised when Myrta just sort of shows up and we see flopping feet and all of a sudden,
No.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked. I mean, the first time I knew it was coming, again today when I rewatched it, but um, I guess shouldn't be surprised that he wouldn't help.
I was wondering why Ian didn't suggest him in the first place instead of the other people he suggested.
I don't think he was
Mm,
there when they left.
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think he was either. So
Okay.
he may have showed up, at the castle, later. I don't think they really explain why he actually was there.
I would think
Um,
that Ian would have
Well, no,
sent for
Ian.
him
Ian sent
to
for him.
come.
Yeah.
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 And then Ian
okay,
explains, this is what's going on. Go get the women. Help them out.
go
And
get him.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so Jenny takes the opportunity though to go home because she has a newborn. She has to
Right,
be there.
Yeah.
She's food.
Yeah.
She must be there. It's just important. there's,
right.
there's no getting around it. Um, but I love this switch over because we did get this really cool trip with Jenny. And before she leaves, Claire tells her about the potatoes. So that was a really cool moment.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that you
I love
plant the potatoes.
they do it very differently in the book. The potatoes is its own
Yes.
saga in the book, really.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
I
this is I
remember that.
like the way they just sort of fit it in without it
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
seeming
they
like we
spinned
got to
it.
squish this. Yeah, they did a really good job, I thought.
Yeah,
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and she also makes the comment that Jamie had told Jenny that Claire may tell her things, and maybe she won't understand what it's where she's getting this information.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So
But do it
that
anyway.
was yeah, that was really great. I really liked the way
Mm-hmm.
they did that.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. They did that very nicely. And I
And then,
liked the way we. Yeah,
also,
go ahead.
with them doing the search, we get to see how beautiful the scenery is, as they're, on the horses, it's just so beautiful where they are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And to wait around for sunshine, in Scotland, from what I understand, is a struggle. So, it'd be interesting to find out how many days they had to wait before they could,
I
do
would bet
this.
Film
money
it.
that that just happened to be the weather that day because they are on a very strict schedule, especially for first season. They're trying to make it out of the gate. So
Yeah,
I would think that just happened to be the weather that it happened to be that day.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
but it
well
was
done,
sure
Scotland.
beautiful. Yeah, it was sure beautiful. Whatever. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
then Murtaugh comes
Yep.
and
We
he
get we're talking.
surprises them, and Jenny leaves. But before Jenny leaves, he goes out and he gets dinner.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. I think it's so funny when he brings it back. and he's like, dinner, and he shows it to him, and he shoves it, in Claire's face, and she doesn't even move. And he shoves it in Jenny's face, and they're like, I'm not doing anything with that. You're gonna have to do it. I just thought that was funny.
You know,
Yep.
we made camp. All you did was get a rabbit.
Yeah.
That was a duck.
Oh, a
Or
duck?
duck. Yeah.
Duck.
Yeah, you
Duck.
could
I
tell
believe
by
you.
the feet it was a duck. So Jenny leaves, and Murtaugh and her set out to try to find Jamie.
Yeah. Yes, and he comes up with a really good plan. I mean, it is a very clever plan. It's not like he can send out an
Yeah.
Insta and
Yeah.
tweet, have you seen Jamie? Um,
Yeah.
but he has to get the word out. And I love that Diana came up with this. I wonder if somebody was like known for doing this, but I love that Diana came up with this. Just be somebody who gets talked about, who the rumor goes around, and they take
Mhm.
her natural talent, her learned talent of being a healer, and he makes a fool of himself on stage for a little bit, and that sort
He
of changes
dances.
into stage performer Claire, which is to me just all worth it, really.
Yeah. It started out so funny because she's like so not gonna sing. She was
Mhm.
just basically, saying the words.
Right. She was saying it rhythmically. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. But she was not
Yeah.
like putting her heart into it at all.
No.
But I
But
did like that
I
after a
love
little
that
bit, she
song.
kind of did. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
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 It
Got
was the
into it after a
perfect
while.
choice.
Yeah. And who would have thought? It's so interesting sometimes. This show is so well written. Who would have thought that, the gypsies would show up and take her song in the show? It's just such an original thought.
Yep. I say, I don't know where Deanna came up with it, but she came up with some great stuff. The inclusion
I
of the
know.
gypsies is just so fun.
Well, she, because she did so much research, when she start before she started this book, I'm sure that probably really happened, in Scotland or in England or wherever.
Yeah.
So doesn't surprise me. I saw some really interesting videos this week of Diana talking, and answering questions. It was on YouTube. So if you haven't gone out there, and they were kind of new. So if you haven't gone out there, you might want to go out and search on her name.
It's been maybe 3 months since I've done a deep dive on Diana to see if there's any new
Yeah,
stuff out. Maybe 3 months.
yeah. But it was really interesting. There was two different videos of her. So I love her. I think she's so interesting, and I love her style. She just has such a different style about herself.
The only
Anyway,
reason I don't look up as much is because I've seen so many interviews and they rarely come up with new questions. I know the answers by they're asking a question. I'm
Mhm.
like, and this
yeah,
is what she's gonna say. And so it's hard for me to find one
yeah.
that I don't already know. I've Jan, I don't know if I've told you this, but I've been learning a lot about Outlander and the people who make it this last couple of years. So it's gotten
Listen,
challenging
smarty
to
pants.
find new information.
Yeah, listen, smarty pants.
Yes, dear.
Be nice to your elders.
All right. Very,
Okay.
very elder.
Yeah, we're talking about the
Anywho.
elders. That's a
Well,
different series.
Claire should have
Well,
listened to her elder when Murtaugh said not to give the gypsy all that money.
Yeah.
yes, that is so.
And
And
and,
you knew it
and
was
what
going to
gets me
happen.
so much, it's what Jamie would have done. No, he wouldn't have. He would have not risked that money for that.
Do you know what? On the hope and a prayer that it might help get Claire back, he might have. Just on the slight slim chance, he might
I
have.
don't think
He
so.
might have known it was a really bad decision at the time. But for Claire, is there anything he wouldn't sacrifice? It's just some gold. He can live rough. I really think that given if the circumstances were switched, there's a decent chance he might have. Now, all logic and sense says don't do that, dummy. But when you
Right.
are that deep in love and your brain only thinks about the person you miss, it's not doing thinking about logic. So that's why I
Yeah.
say
Yeah, there's
he
no
might have.
logic
He might have.
involved.
Yeah. Because they should have done like Murdo said and let them do the show and then follow around and go around and see if they can find him while the show's going on instead of
Yeah,
doing the show themselves. But
I completely agree.
I
yeah,
just,
it's not in the book.
I wish I knew. I wish we knew more about Murtaugh. And we're gonna learn more with Blood of My Blood. Because they showed him the other day. It was really great seeing the character
Hmm. Hmm.
And I honestly
because
was not
we don't.
excited to see him play it until I saw that preview. And there was something
Mhm.
about the part when he says Murtaugh just kind of gives a little smile and kind of gets away with extra stuff because he's just a charmer. At the same time as they showed that clip where he's in his bonnet to the side and
Yeah,
giving kind of a snarky grin, I was like, all
yeah,
right, I can see it now. I really can. I can
right.
see it now.
I saw that clip. Yeah, but because we don't really know that much about Murtaugh's life.
Mm.
We don't know if he's educated or not.
I
We know that Jamie is educated, but we don't
yes.
know if Murtaugh is. But Murtaugh is so smart. Like
He can
he's
read and write at least
yes,
Right.
because he of the
absolutely.
letters in Paris. We know it that much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he seems to be educated, when
He's
he's with
definitely
Jamie.
intelligent.
Yeah, because he
Hmm.
is so sly. Maybe it might be kind of like street smarts. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
It's Highland smarts.
Hmm. Yeah, Highland smarts.
There you go.
But
But
anyway,
okay, I do like the different things we see. Them. I'm looking at it right now. The marionettes. I adored marionettes when I was a kid. I even had one. Um, and tried to learn to throw my voice, couldn't do it. I like that they show the different kinds of performances while they're going and performing. While Marta's dancing
Hmm.
badly, while Claire's kind of getting used to doing her, and she does kind of get some confidence on stage too. It's an odd way to
Hmm.
grow, but we see her get to growing to do that a little bit. Although
uh,
apparently everyone she talks to is going to live a long and happy life. I love it. Everybody's gonna.
Except for the lady's husband.
Oh yeah. Well, that she's gonna live a long and happy life because your husband will not.
He's not going to.
yeah,
I thought that
that
was
was
great.
funny. I
There are
forgot
two
about
But your
things I
that.
wrote
husband
down
will
for that.
not.
Well, she didn't seem upset about that. I mean,
Oh no, it made her day.
Maybe she could help him along.
now, yeah, Claire didn't say how she was going to live a long and happy
Right,
life.
All
And she
right.
didn't say how her husband wasn't. But yeah, that
right.
helping him along seems like a good plan. Um,
I thought it was really interesting too. How they portrayed the gypsies,
mhm.
and I guess I didn't even think about gypsies being uh travelers, through the
Oh, yeah.
country. You know, I didn't even think about them. So it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
interesting that they brought up gypsies.
What got
Um,
me was I saw the trombone in the background. I'm like, really, a trombone? But it comes from what was it, the 13th century or something, the
Yeah, as I
15th
say,
century?
trombone's been around for a
Yeah,
darn long time. They would have been there.
very long time. I didn't
Yeah.
know it'd been around that long. So
Well, you
yeah, there
clearly have
was.
not watched enough Disney cartoons about the olden days because they had trumpets in the orchestra, and those things are accurate.
yeah, but trumpets, yeah, but not trombones. Those are different.
My dad played the trombone in the college band.
My
Oh,
dad played
okay.
the trumpet. My brother played the trombone.
I think it's kind of a strange instrument, you know. But
Hmm.
anyway, um so what we see is that Claire and somebody steals their song.
Yeah, the gypsies
Oh
end
yeah,
up
the
taking their
gypsies.
song, and they do it
Yeah.
better, which is upsetting. But they're performers; they've been doing this their whole lives, so they're
Yeah.
doing great.
Yeah.
And instead of the word of Claire spreading around, the gypsies' word spreads around. Word of them, and it gets back to them. So, well, no, they stumble on
They
the
run into
performance
him.
and they see him. Yeah, my
Yeah.
mistake. But that's the performance that gets around to Jamie. And that's where things
Hmm.
get tricky. Although I do like that
Right.
Claire confronts the gypsy. Uh yeah, that whole thing was funny. After he comes and says, "So somebody came to see us." You promised you were going to say it. And I like his excuse of to why he came. They're there for love. They're there on a matter of
Yeah.
love. Okay,
Well,
so
he should come after all the money she gave him.
this
Yeah.
is true. We're here because of a bribe. No, I thought it was an interesting twist on the gypsies, because you kind of knew they were going to steal it and do it anyway after they'd been
Yeah.
paid off.
We
That
all
was kind of
knew.
a given. But you didn't really expect them to come back and in some way be honorable about that use.
Right.
So I thought
Right.
that was a really nice touch.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Personally, I thought that was really nice. Um, and again, this means things are not going well. They go to meet up with the person who, the messenger sent to go meet up with somebody. So it's like, yes, it's Jamie. You're excited. Okay, cool. They found him something cool. And then you get to that, what was it, like a cavern under a
Like a
castle or
cave of some
something?
Yeah.
kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And there's that
and
asshole. Sorry.
that's that guy. Yeah.
Sorry,
It,
Katie.
it,
Well, you left out
we
the part where they're in the cave together,
Oh
where
yeah.
Claire and Murtaugh are in the cave, and she finds out about the bracelets.
Oh,
Oh
that's true.
yeah.
Yes. That's a very
Yeah.
sweet moment.
And
You're right. I did skip right over
yes.
that.
Yeah.
I
Sorry.
did.
Yeah.
No, that's a
Yeah. That
wonderful
I like
moment.
that moment. Yeah. Because
That is again another.
it shows
Go ahead.
Claire that he really does love Jamie and cares about him
Right.
and you know and explains why he's by himself because he didn't get the woman he wanted. Um,
Yeah,
so
which is extra sad, I
mhm.
think, because
Yeah,
he had love. He was in love, and he just didn't have apparently the shot that Brian does, and but it didn't really. It in no way hindered the love he still had for Ellen, and all these years. That's why he is so
hmm,
dedicated and loyal to
hmm,
Jamie out of memory and love for a woman he was never going to have.
yeah.
Right.
And
I
I like
wonder.
that. Yeah.
I wonder if blood of my blood. I wonder if they're gonna have that scene where it kind of explains, like I'm gonna protect Jamie his whole life or whatever. It'll be interesting to see if they write that into the story.
I think it'll
You
depend on
know.
how
It,
far along in the timeline they are getting.
well, it's
Oh,
already been done in Outlander though, because he comes to Jamie and says, "Your mother is gone, but I will be there for you for the rest of your life," and he vows that in front of Jamie, 8 year
Ah,
old Jamie. So that's
I
already
didn't
right,
know
but
been
you
that.
don't
done.
see if it's a request from Ellen on her deathbed. Please watch out for my
Yeah.
son.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if it's that kind of a thing. But
I
I
just thought
think
it
this
would be interesting to see if they take it that far.
Mm,
But I think we
okay.
know that from what Jeremy Irvine said, they are going to be going on this vacation at some point and leaving their child behind. That's what it sounded like, the conversation between Katrina and Jeremy. You know, there. That's what it sounded like to me, that they would have had Claire and then they're going on vacation. But I don't know, and they've said that in Outlander and too. But I didn't know if they were
Yeah.
talking about blood of my blood, if they're talking about the story we already know. So
Oh,
Mm.
okay.
it yeah, I don't know. Are we gonna see 3-year-old Jamie playing with Willie? Are we gonna see
Yeah.
Claire by herself, doing whatever Claire did as a child while her parents were still around?
Yeah.
What we don't,
Mhm.
but I don't think that even if we do see them, it'll probably be like a snapshot of a moment because that's not the
Mhm.
focus.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
I
Just my
loved
opinion.
I loved the scene that they showed in the gathering where Brian meets um
Ellen?
what is
Ellen.
Ellen, thank you. When Brian meets Ellen for the first time, it's so cute. They're like looking at each other between the boards, in the where the horse shelter is or something in the barn.
I think it's
It's so
really
cute.
sweet that this is all happening in the stables because the
Yeah,
stables a pretty important place the first few episodes of Outlander here as well.
Mhm.
absolutely. Um where Claire comes in and she's trying to escape and she walks on Jamie in the
Yep,
middle of the night.
yep,
Mhm.
So I just thought that was cute.
absolutely. I
Yep.
completely agree. And I, all right, we're
Anyway,
getting on a blood of my blood thing. We'll talk about blood
I'm
of my
sorry.
blood sometime too. Okay, we'll
Yeah,
just do a blood of my
yeah.
blood chat before blood of my
Okay.
blood. Anyway, back to the show. So, just in
Yeah,
case,
we're here talking about
So
Outlander.
she's found Dougal, not Jamie.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, and
Oh,
Dougal
I
in
just
his
hated that. I hated
uh,
that whole scene.
me,
I don't know what they did, but they kind of made his face look so big on the screen. I don't know how what they were doing, but it was different. We don't usually see him that close up, but I just felt like he was really right there in the screen.
yeah.
And you were just, I remember thinking, ick. It was just, ugh.
Yeah.
I just do not like him. I mean,
I'm
you
not
put
a
up with,
fan myself. I love Graham though, which is funny because I love it when he does
Yes.
his little
yes,
messages about books we should read and taking his little
yeah,
tours, whiskey tours himself with his wife, going, "Oh, we're gonna drink it on this hill. Let's see if it tastes better here.
yeah,
Yep, tastes really good here. We'll see at the next one." So I do
yeah.
adore him, but that's
And
probably
I loved
why
him with Men in Kilts. He was so funny in Men in Kilts too.
Mhm.
he's
But
a
this
crack
scene,
up.
this scene just makes him so slimy. It's like,
Well, he's been slimy the whole time. We just didn't know how slimy
yeah.
until
I
this
love
final
how she
scene.
says, Jamie is your nephew or whatever she says, whatever Claire says.
Yeah.
I just, ugh.
Yeah. Well,
Jamie
and,
would
and,
put down
and
Fine.
when she's
Jamie
like,
would down my
she figures out all that stuff that he's done, keeping him away from home, wanting Lollybrock, trying to get
Yeah.
Claire. And he
And,
says,
and,
"Well,
and,
all that
and
may be true."
yeah.
Just
yeah.
to deny a bit of it.
And he smacked Jamie in the head. They have it's a little bit more in the book
Mm-hmm.
about how
Yeah.
they think that he was the one who caused
Yes.
Jamie to have that head injury, all the,
And
years
now he
ago.
can't sing. He can't. He has no tone. It's so very sad.
I
Anyway,
bet I bet Sam was glad about that.
yeah. So they have to shake on her saying, "Okay, I will marry you only if
Yes,
I
there's an if.
fail."
Yes.
And so
Fail
he
at
Yes.
makes
what?
her shake.
She wants to go and try to break her husband out of
Yeah,
prison. Not just any prison.
yeah,
And oh my gosh. And all right, that I will say this that I think that the best favorite moment, well, not my favorite moment, but one of my favorite moments in this episode is those final moments where she's saying, "Who wants to help me? Who's gonna come with me?"
yeah,
Because she does ask Dougal, "Who's come with you?" Let's go talk to him, and I love it's Willie, right? I always want to say Jimmy.
Yes,
Yes.
It's
Willie.
Willie.
It's Willie.
Young Willie
Yeah.
is the only one who comes up and
Right.
is like, "I'm at your command, ma'am." I mean, it takes him a minute to get there,
Yeah.
but he's the
Yeah, he says,
bravest one.
yeah.
I
He
know.
says, my life is yours to command. Oh, like, oh my
Yes,
God. What a
It's
sweet
so
little
it's
guy.
so sweet.
Yes.
it really
You
is.
know that he
And
does that.
kind of like with Fergus and with no, I want to say kind of like with young Ian. He has been very accepting of her. He has just hasn't been a big forefront character, but
Hmm.
he felt bad when she ran away. He
Yeah.
has been kind of there for her in his own way and hasn't really questioned much. It is really nice to see that he's the one who steps up and goes, yeah. And then, of course, by doing that, he shames the rest of them into doing it as well.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
he basically says Jamie's always been there for him.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's always been the one that has, walked him through, manhood basically.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, and they're so mean to Willie, the rest of the men. So I understand, what he's saying. He should
Yeah.
be the one that stands up.
Yeah, I
And,
agree.
and like you said, the rest of them are like, yeah. And I can't remember which one of them said, and if we fail, I'm gonna beat the crap out of Willie or
Uh,
something.
Yeah.
no, Rupert says if this goes wrong, I'm killing you first.
Yeah,
There you go.
But I thought he said that to Claire.
yeah,
No, he says it to Willie. He does say it to
He says
Willie.
it's Willie.
yeah.
Okay.
Send it
Yeah.
to Willie.
Okay.
So
But I just thought that was cute.
in general, that's kind of where we leave it. Uh, the
Yeah.
new adventures to come in the next episode. Again, I say this one is an easy one for me. It's a 5 for me because they fit so much story in this to move along to those last 2 episodes. There is a lot of story to tell here between the search for Jamie, between trying to save Jamie, between him getting taken in the first. I mean, there's a lot to cover in here, and not only that we get
Hmm.
to know some of the characters better, we understand some more backstory. I really like this. So this was just fiver on me.
Oops,
Jan,
we
what did you
lost you
think?
for a second.
Oh, okay. Well, I looked great on my side. Did you? I thought it was a great.
You're
I'm
so
just gonna
funny.
say because of all the character stuff that happened and the fact that we do kind of get at least 3 separate stories in this one episode, it's a 5 for me. Because there's no Jamie, we will not be including any butts for you, Jan. I'm sorry, we're gonna have to go with kilts.
I know.
W- Well, I was really surprised you wanted to talk about this one because I was like, well, not only is Sam not in it, but he's not in it with no shirt or anything.
I
So
know.
what? I don't
I do.
understand
I,
why.
I I do like the show, so I do. I will watch it without him.
Oh,
I
okay.
thought was I thought I would probably give it maybe 4.5.
Okay.
I understand. I understand how movies kind of are set up, and one of the things that you learn is that you have to have some episodes where it allows people to catch up on the story.
Hmm.
So this would be one of those episodes where people aren't being, murdered one after another. You're not
Right.
seeing lots of different, like, a lot of people are going different places and you have to pay attention. Where this one, you just felt like, things kind of slowed down. Even though they were rushing to try to get to Jamie, you didn't have that feeling. But anyway, I would probably give it, a 4.5 because of that.
Okay. I can see
How
that.
about you,
I
Miss?
appreciate that.
I give it a 4.
Okay.
There was it. Sometimes it felt a little slow.
We're so
Okay.
used to so many things happening. I think, it's
Yeah.
easy to
Yeah.
do that. But I think, like we've talked in the past about how well written this show is. It's
Hmm.
just so rich.
Yeah.
And how they every scene is just, even though we hated that scene with Dougal and Claire, it was so well written. You know, you just felt, he's like the total scumbag that he is, because of that. But it's
Yeah.
just
No
such a
doubt.
it's such a well written. You hate to give it everything. You hate to not give it a 5 every time that we have these chats. But um,
No, I want your honest opinion, and we're all gonna have
yeah,
different opinions. That's the cool thing about
yeah,
this
Hmm.
too is folks who aren't sure about say movies that we talk about and stuff too. They'll go, you know what? I usually agree with Jan, so if she's talking about this one today, I'm gonna listen to it, or
yeah,
whatnot. So I think it's good to have varying opinions and what you're looking for in
Hmm.
the episode.
yeah. I do too. Everybody has a different opinion on this. I think we all love Outlander, but we definitely have different opinions about different episodes. But
Hmm.
I would definitely watch the next two. It's going to be pretty crazy, the next two
See,
episodes.
I vehemently dislike one of the next two episodes very very much.
Yeah, me
It's
too.
very very and it's hard to watch for a lot of people. I'm not saying it's just hard for me.
Yeah.
It's just really hard for me to get through, but I my OCD forces me to watch it through every watch through. I can't skip
Oh,
an
really?
episode. So
I,
I must
to be,
watch it.
yeah, I am being very honest. The next two episodes, especially the one after this next week, is the worst one. And I don't know if I've actually watched it from beginning to end,
Okay.
uh, even all these years. I just don't know if I can, if I can like put my head down and maybe listen to it, maybe I'll be able to get through it. But yeah, this one's going to be really difficult.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it is. It just is. It's just hard to watch. I mean, even if you're telling
yeah,
yourself this is fake, these are two actors, they actually are friends, they
yeah,
fake. It's all fake. No, I'm
yeah,
sorry. It's from the nail on. I
Yes.
yeah,
just mm.
yeah,
But so we're gonna talk about it. I'm going to have a bucket here in case I get sick, and uh,
yeah,
I will count on those joining me to have really really great insights because I'm just gonna be like, it's
yeah.
icky. I don't like it. It's bad. Uh,
Maybe we'll tell some Outlander jokes or something during the
there we go.
episodes to make it funnier or something.
That's the challenge, everybody. I want some Outlander jokes. Is
Yeah,
there anything else?
Well,
Did we,
out of everything I've watched, I mean,
yeah.
the only other male rape scene I've seen is in Deliverance.
yeah, that
But
was
I've
pretty
watched a
bad
lot of
too.
movies, and
Yeah,
it's just not something that's covered. And
No.
hopefully, it's not just. Hopefully, it spurs more conversation, and men can talk about it more.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Exposure has given women a louder voice. I don't
Hmm.
see why it shouldn't allow that. I don't want to say freedom, that's not the right word, but the ability to speak up a little bit more if you have
Hmm.
something you need to talk about.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, Melissa. It's just
But
still
they
a.
took a lot of chances.
It's yeah, they did, and it's not easy to watch, and it's um, I find myself thinking, what were they thinking when they were actually doing it? You know,
Yeah.
Well, somebody's
because
Now
writing a
I
book.
and I have to tell you that as disgusting as the scenes are, I did look for peepees.
Well, Jan, I don't think that's any different than a guy going, oops, I saw a nipple. I think it's just your eyes can't help it.
Yeah.
Okay, I try to be a very respectful person, okay? I mean, I make jokes
Yes.
about woohoo, I can see his kneecaps and stuff, but I do try to
Yeah.
be respectful. And
Yes.
yet every time one of these fellas is wearing a kilt and they're
Yeah.
on a stage, I can't help but go, "Will we see
I
any?"
know.
No, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm really really not. Your brain
I know.
it does a thing. I don't know why,
I
but I
know.
growing up with
It
guys.
happens in, you know what? It happens in the crowd too. You can, like, they go, when Jamie sits down, sometimes, and he doesn't close his legs all the way, the ladies are like, oh, you can hear them.
There's at least one video of Graham and Sam on stage, and I'm pretty sure it's Graham who didn't realize his kilt wasn't quite
Yes.
Yeah,
stuffed in the way
I
it
think so
Yeah.
should be.
too.
But I think
Yeah,
Yes.
it happens, and I say I grew up with guys. I was the one girl in my group of friends. When I turned
yeah,
around 13, well, I needed a bra by the time I was 10. So you can imagine at 13, those boys who were my friends that I'd been playing football and hockey with saw me in a slightly
right.
different way. And so
Yeah,
I stopped wearing skirts because I could see where their eyeballs were. They used to be up here.
yeah,
They no
Mhm.
longer looked up here. And as I got older, their eyes got lower. So I
yeah,
understand, and I don't really get mad because your brain doesn't. Sometimes your brain does not control your eyeballs. It really it doesn't. They just do their own thing.
yeah.
As long as you're not going.
But I think it's funny. Also, there's one video of them dancing, and Sam is like twirling his kilt, and everybody's like, ah.
Girls do it in skirts. Why not?
I
I know.
but I
I
but I
know.
think that the argument that Sam had about taking that part out that they filmed that he didn't want them to film,
Yeah,
and that I think he was right in having that taken out, because
Yeah.
if women had seen him completely naked, it would have changed the whole thing,
Yes, there needs
because
to be
that's what they
mystery.
wanted to see. Yes.
Our in our
Uh,
imaginations.
eh,
All right, everybody. Okay, I'm going to put this in a really rude way. I apologize. Every woman has a preference of some sort. And if you've only been with your husband in your entire life, that's probably your preference. If you've been with a few people, you might know what you might prefer. If we are limited to what the truth is, that no longer feeds the fantasy of what we believe maybe under the kilt. That's all I'm going to say because I don't want to get super crude, but I
well,
can see why they'd want to have it be private and mystery.
I think the other reason is, though, that would have sexualized it, like he said, and that
yeah,
women would have been thinking about sex instead of what was happening on screen.
Very
yeah.
true.
And I
True. True.
think
True.
that he
True.
was right
It
to
was.
not do
Yeah,
that.
I
Yes.
agree. I think if they would have shown that, it would absolutely been more about sex.
Yes,
Absolutely. Yep. Yep.
I think it would have taken away from what they did, if they
Yeah.
had shown him.
I hope nobody has that video, because that video would be
N-
worth a lot of money.
I've never seen it.
No,
I don't dig for personal
No,
stuff,
I
but I've
doubt it.
never accidentally come across any hint of it in any
no,
way. So I think he's safe, Jan.
I never have either.
Yeah.
I
We're
hope it
running
isn't
low on
anywhere.
time. Can I just give a big thanks to you guys? I also want to say
Yeah.
thanks
Mhm.
to Vicky, to Cynthia, to Jackie. Hi, Jackie. To Kathy. To
Hi,
anybody else who
Jackie.
Hi,
came
Jackie.
by. Stacy's here too. Thank you
Hey,
guys. I
Stacy.
they were going so fast that I couldn't keep up. They're having their own
Yeah.
conversation. I
Yeah.
do have I do have a larger monitor that I just have to figure out how I'm going to attach it to my monstrosity of a desk that will allow me to see people's comments really easily in my little screen. It's gonna be a big screen. It's gonna be bigger than the screen
Yeah.
I'm using for this. So yay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I might have that project after even August, simply because that would cost money, and right now I'm trying to be careful about that. That, and thank you, Jan, and thank you, Melissa, and thank you,
You're welcome.
Mike, for coming.
You're welcome.
I always enjoy you guys' insights. It's so fun to hear your thoughts about things, and because you both notice very different things sometimes, and
Yeah.
it's great
Yeah.
to have a conversation. It's nice.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
We enjoy you too, Katie.
That's all
This
right.
is
We
a
do.
love fest we're having right now. All right.
You know,
Thanks a lot.
we're just
Bye,
wonderful people.
guys.
Bye,
Yeah.
Jan. Have a good
That's
night.
right. Bye,
Hi,
guys.
Bye,
everybody.
Melissa. Bye, guys. We're all very strange. Yes, and that's how we're ending that. We're all very strange. Hey, that went pretty well. We only went off kilter a little bit, but still talking about Outlander adjacent things. We didn't go too off topic. Thank you everybody for joining us. This was again one of my favorite episodes. I really do enjoy it because of how many different things get covered, and again the insights to the characters. It's really good stuff. I really do enjoy when they expand the layers of these characters. Diana did a fantastic job, and the fact they translate it so well on television, everybody should get a pat on the back who is involved in this show. Again, thanks to everybody for joining us. If you enjoyed this video, give her a like. One other thing before I keep going, Wednesday was going to be the public private chat with myself and my 9-year-old who is fascinated with this whole thing. But it's going to end up being on Thursdays because it turns out she has a previous summer plan and I did not realize it was the same day. So we're going to do it on Thursday at 3 o'clock. Again, I'll put a post out for everybody to see. Anyway, if you like this video, give it a like. If not, give me a thumbs down. In the comments, tell me what you really think of me. And don't forget to hit the subscription and notification bell if you want to know when the next videos do come out. I really need a better background for this. I need to post up something so that we'll get a little Claire and Jamie running around or something here. I'll have to look into that. And let's see, where was I? Thank you very much to my members. I updated my scroll today, so hopefully you guys saw that in both the videos. There were 2 videos today with this one. That's 3 in total. So I hope you got... Goodness. Got a watch of them. Thank you to everybody who has helped me out with Super Thanks and GoFundMe for my vehicle. I'm going to keep everybody up to date on the tallies. If you want to be one of the people who helps out, whether it's $5 or just sharing, please do check out my GoFundMe or the Super Thanks. The Super Thanks can be found right below the video. If you go to more, hit those 3 dots, you'll find it. And if you go to the description, the GoFundMe link is down there with where I would normally have sources and such. All right, guys, I need to head out. I need to head out because my husband, I think, and I have something to watch tonight. And maybe something I will share with you at a later date. So go forth. Have a great rest of your evening. It is Monday. We are at 20 weeks of Outlander, in case anybody is keeping count. And tomorrow, I will be live, 12 o'clock. See you there. Or be square. I'm not cool enough to get away with that. Thanks again, guys, for your comments. I'm sorry I didn't get to too many today. And I will see you all tomorrow. Have a great night.